Well, first one of the trip. We got out here about a half hour ago. Just got set up, doing a little bit of trolling, trying to locate some fish. Beginning of November, cold weather. Planning on doing some casting, but we got the first one trolling. As I said while I was fighting that fish, it's the beginning of November. Planning on doing a casting bite, but we're going to start out by trolling. The reason we're doing that is to look for some fish. We got one in the bag already. Probably been out about 45 minutes. I love this time of the year. Trolling is a lot of fun this time of the year, but so is casting. The weather needs to warm up just a little bit so we can get casting, but hey, we got number one in the bag. Let's get her unpinned. She was hungry. Try to keep my hands out of the water. She was head hunting, that's for sure. Right on that front hook. There we go. She's unpinned. 13-inch grandma, Team Rhino Outdoors, TRO Gold Walleye. Awesome bait. First fish on this bait, but I bought this just for these kinds of days. That beginning of November, all the way through November, honestly. These grandmas really truly work, and Jeff, you always come out with some really cool colors. Let's get her out of the bag and take a look. The old rubber gloves are probably necessary today. She's a bit chilly. I think it's 26-degree air temp. We're at about 40-some degrees in water temp. Rubber gloves kind of become necessary. Let's get her out of the bag, take a look at her. Fish number one, beginning of November, doing a little trolling to get things started. That's the way it works. Marked her on side imaging, took a look with the live scope, boom. She was right there. Let's get her back in the water. She's ready to go. Let's let her go home. Cold water release. They always take off hard. Awesome feeling. Let's go see if we can't find number two, locate some more fish. Welcome back to Mayhem's 10,000 Cast. Well, we're about 2.5 hours in. Like I said, when we caught that fish, spending some time trolling, and the reason we're doing that is we're looking for fish. Kind of bumping in and out off the break line, looking at a little bit of open water, as well as those hard breaks. And when I'm talking about a hard break, I'm talking anywhere from like that 18 to 20 out to that 30 foot. And that's where we're concentrating. We're looking for Cisco's that are staging. Water temps are mid 40s, and that's usually when we start to see things start to happen on those deep break lines. You know, a month ago, we did some trolling, and when we were doing that trolling at that particular time, we were fishing the weed beds. And over the progression of the last 3 to 4 weeks, I've watched a lot of that bait start sliding out deeper, but the fish really hadn't transitioned, and I think they are now, and that's typical. So definitely something to think about. You get into that beginning of November, start looking at some of those harder, deeper breaks, and you're gonna start seeing some bait, as well as muskies.
We just had our first follow of the day. We just got done trolling, just started casting. The sun's coming out, so it's actually really nice out. I don't know, this is probably the second structure that we started on. Brad actually had it come up on a quad dog. I was watching his bait with live scope like I normally do. I seen the fish shooting up, coming, and I was about ready to put the rod down, getting ready for the net, but she just did not commit. She came into his bait, and then my pounder was coming in the back. She shot over to me, she shot back to him. She did all kinds of crazy stuff, just did not commit. Then I watched her swim back down, so I grabbed a mag bondi here, dropped it down, and started jigging it. This post turnover water is insanely clear. I could see that mag bondi down there like 15 feet. I could see the fish come up on it like this. And I just kept jigging it. She came up and just nipped it. And I kind of set, but she really didn't get it. She did that twice and then she swam off. So we're gonna let her be. Maybe we'll come back to her later. But I think we got plenty of fish to come back after. So, but mag bondi there, big blue one. Pretty deep water. These Cisco's seem to be out here in like 35, but there's a lot of rock, a lot of good structure here in like 30 and 20. So I'm kind of keeping the boat in like 30, 35, and we're casting up. That fish was probably, I don't know, 20, 25 feet down, I'm guessing, on that rock structure. And Brad's bait's only getting down like 10 feet. She shot all the way up coming after it. So they can see very well, but I'm gonna put the pounder back on, get back to throwing. We got quite a few 100 yards here worth of this exact same structure, so I'm excited.
Hey Chase, what did we get from Team Rhino Outdoors?
Big dog, St. Croix. We got 2 offshore planer boards, leaders from Stealth Tackle. We got the new Braves, some Cortland, and some Bahio sunglasses.
Wait, carry.
What are you guys doing?
10-inch hex. Husky with this. Got a new pounder and 2. Check out teamrhinooutdoors.com for all your musky gear.
What do all Muskie Mayhem Tackle Pro Staffers have in common? Big fish pictures. Choose the brand that the pros choose. Muskie Mayhem Tackle. Let the mayhem begin.
It's getting to the evening time. The fish seemed pretty fired up when we first got out. When we first started casting, had a hot follow, and then I raised probably a 46, 47 or so on a pounder. That one was really low and slow and really didn't do anything, and I don't know, it's been probably another hour, and I had one come in super late on me again and just never really fired up. And then she literally saw Brad figure 8 in the front of the boat, shot up to that quad dog again, but just did not commit. But they were just getting just real close to it, just not opening their mouths. So I'm guessing they're not really wanting to eat right now, but they're getting enticed for sure. So hopefully we get another one of those bite windows where they actually eat instead of just looking, and we capitalize on it hopefully. But got lots of bait here, lots of Cisco's, and some really good structure, cool structures. Fun to run this boat around this. A lot deeper than you would, just say, in the summertime. Like the boat right now is in 40-some feet of water, but the end of our cast is hitting like 15. So really steep break, lots of Cisco's, and some lazy muskies is what today's going to be about. But hopefully we can get them to eat.
More Cisco's, just kind of pulling into this next spot here. Happen to be watching the side view. Boom, there they are. So another deep break. We're in 46 feet of water. Definitely carrying all the way up onto the structure. Let's see if we can't get something to go.
One thing I want to talk about, a little tip, when you're throwing this big rubber, you know, a lot of guys say to lob cast and thumb your spool, which is exactly what you want to do, but that doesn't always get it as well. So even after you do that, and sometimes it still gets tangled up, and this is when your hook is on the back hook, your leader's hooked to the back hook. You just take it, just say I'm hung up out there right now, you just kind of slack line it, just kind of give it some pops, reel up, if it's still there, just kind of slack line it. And I wouldn't say it works a ton, but I'd say over 50% of the time it'll unhook off that bait. What it does is your bait's coming in sideways like this, and when you put that slack and let it sink, so now the bait's going like this and you got that slack, it kind of whacks that leader off that hook and will actually save your cast, so you don't have to reel in that dog ball all the way out there. And if you've thrown pounders enough, you know, or big rubber, husky deuce, pounder, all of it, it's not fun to reel that thing all the way back in. So if you can just give it some slack and just kind of yo-yo it like that on that slack line, a lot of times that leader will come off that hook and your bait will be fishable after that for the rest of your cast. So give that one a shot next time you're out.
Finally.
Wow.
That took us a while, no doubt.
She wasn't convinced by the glider.
Finally get something going.
Finally got one. It's pretty much dark. It's getting super cold out. As you see from my bait pile back here, they've been very, very finicky. I don't know, we raised maybe 2 or 3 more in the last hour and a half, and they are just super weird. They're charging up on like the straightaways, and then on your corners, they just get really weird and they swim off and they'll come right back. And another thing is I'm noticing is that they're not deep anymore. They're all coming up to the surface, and we're fishing on, putting the boat a little bit shallower. It seems like they're pulling up the break for whatever reason. All the Cisco's and stuff are still deeper, but the fish are pulling up. So I put the rig boss on, and I just had one follow it in. I think that one was too deep to see, but I can't remember now. But anyways, I got the rig boss on, the same one that Brad caught in the last episode, and this one smoked me, and she's hooked good. She wanted it. So might have figured out something that they want. Almost. Open up a little bit for me. There you go. Sweet. Fat fish, not a big one, but nice thick average fish. Big old 11-inch rig boss there. Kind of a Cisco-y shad pattern, but you cannot beat this thing. It worked very well in Ohio for us. It's worked all back home with me. And now in Minnesota, it's becoming very, very good bait for us to throw in the fall. Anytime that bait's anywhere, well, like now I said, the bait's really not up there, but the fish that we're marking, they're like, I don't know, 10, 15 feet down, if that. And the rubber, they're just not going on the rubber, so I thought a glide bait nice and easy with some little quicker snaps in there would get a bite, and it did. Plenty of energy. Super, super thick little fish there. God, I love it. Love Minnesota in November. One of my absolute favorite times up here. Stay up all summer. Yeah, it's fun to catch them on bucktails, but man, I like it when they're fat. Cold weather when no one wants to be out here, big rubber and glide baits. That's what the program's going right now. Let's get her back. Bye-bye. Well, as you saw there, the water is crystal clear, and I think it's another reason that this rig boss is working really well right now, because they can see so far right now after this is post turnover, so it's as clean as this water's ever going to be. The fish that I have seen, like the one this morning on live scope that we saw, that thing came from 20, 25 feet under the bait, shot straight up on Brad's bait, and then followed it in. I think a lot of them are doing that. I don't know, but like I said, the last couple that we have seen on side imaging and live scope have all been in that 10 to 15 range. So I put the rig boss on, just popping it in nice and easy like I said. But what I did notice on the figure 8 is a nice slow figure 8. They'd stay around for 1 or 2 turns, but once you got on them corners and then I sped it up in the straightaway, they act like they were going to come smash it. but they just never did. So with the glide bait, with the Rig Boss, I was kind of thinking a couple little pops and then really get after it and then let it sit for a second. And I think she actually hit it before I even felt it. I was just popping it, and I went to pop again, and it just felt like complete slack, so I just sat and she was on there. So worked out, and we got a little bit left of daylight here. Hopefully we can get another one casting. We're gonna do a few more casts here, and then we're probably gonna run in for dinner tonight and warm up, and then get out here tomorrow morning as well. Hopefully they bite just a hair better tomorrow morning. Muskie bumper, measuring fish since 2008. Muskie boards that come in 3 different sizes, left and right-handed variations. They measure accurately up to 60 inches. Stainless steel hardware, lightweight and durable, and they float. We measure your success. Find us at muskiebumper.com.
Magnum Ventures Inc., a woman-owned company, has you protected when it comes to snow, sand, and wind structural fencing products, providing residential, commercial, governmental, and Department of Transportation options for superior property and roadway protection. Proudly made in the USA, Magnum Ventures Structural Snow Fence reduces the drifting and icing of roadways, decreasing the number of accidents and the need for roadside assistance. Contact Magnum Ventures at www.magveninc.com for your project needs.
Well, it's day 2. We're back at it. It's in the AM here. We're starting out trolling, and the reason we're starting out trolling, it's 27 degrees this morning. The weatherman was wrong again. It sounded like we were going to be almost 40 degrees, but as this week's progressed, they keep lowering it, and we're not going to make it casting. The reels will start freezing up. So we're going to start out trolling, and hopefully we get above freezing and we can get back at the casting bite. But in the meantime, we're going to experiment, look at some different areas that we didn't look at yesterday, and hopefully find some more fish to get after. We switch back casting. I don't know, it doesn't feel half as warm as it did yesterday, but there's no sun today. It's a little bit cloudier, but what a great sign. We've been casting about, I don't know, half hour, 40 minutes, and the old quad dog got it done for me. It's a good feeling. Decent fish, not a monster, but we'll take it. Let's see if we can get her unpinned here. She's got that quad dog just buried in there. Here's one hook. You got 2 hooks, girl? She might have 2 hooks. She's got my line wrapped up. Black and silver quad dog. Man, she made a mess out of my line there. Brand new bait coming out by Muskie Innovations. Probably already seen it at the show season when this show comes out. But man, it's getting the work done. Thanks, Brad Rue. All right. Oh, she's got a little bit of meanness in her. Awesome. Nice fish to start the day. Number 3 for the shoot. Number 1 for day 2. We might have us a little pattern here. trolling bite wasn't good, so we went back to casting. Hopefully it starts warming up a little bit. Let's get this one back in the water. All right. Tensing up on me there, girl. See you later. Back down to the depths. Cisco eating machines. Awesome, awesome. Feels good. Let's get back at it, Chase.
I don't sharpen hooks that often. A lot of my clients, a lot of my friends know that. I very rarely sharpen hooks, but when it's cold like this, I do sharpen hooks because their mouths definitely get harder. The whole fish does. Like, they get denser. I think their mouth gets harder. I think it's harder to penetrate their meat in their mouth. So I always make sure I keep a lot of sharp hooks in the boat, especially when throwing this big rubber. And it definitely helps to have sharp hooks this time of year. That big giant rubber bait, they don't move that far in their mouth when you're setting that hook unless you really get after it. So it definitely helps to have sharp hooks. And I am going to try out an Underdog, not a real known Innovations bait. I've not really ever thrown them. I think it's perfect for up here, so I bought one and we'll give it a shot. I've been throwing a regular pounder about the whole day. We haven't really raised any fish. Yesterday we raised quite a few fish, and Brad has got one fish on a quad dog. It definitely seems like it's one of those days where it's just going to be bites, not follows. Because yesterday trolling, we caught one trolling, had a couple follows trolling. This morning trolling, didn't see a fish. Casting, haven't marked a fish, haven't seen a fish other than Brad catching that one. But we're going to a new spot here, spot that we seen some fish at yesterday. Hopefully we can get those fish to bite.
Well, everybody has a different choice, you know, when it's cold like this. You got to figure out a different system, you know, to keep your hands warm, so on and so forth. I hate gloves. So one of the things that I do is I don't wear a right glove. And the reason I don't is because I can't stand wearing them. But I will on my left hand a lot of times use these wool gloves. This flips off so my fingers come out. Right now it's cold enough where I got them tucked in, but wool is just a great answer. Because what wool does is even when it's wet, it still stays warm. So it's actually pretty nice. Chase back here, he's using the latex gloves and then sometimes putting gloves over top of them if it's really cold. Latex works really well to keep your hands dry, but your hands will sweat inside of them. So once you take them off, you're in trouble. But a couple different solutions to fishing out in the cold water, cold weather, and definitely want to keep them hands warm when you're doing this kind of fishing. You know, one other cool thing about the cold weather like this, and I really, you know, last year we played with the grasp by St. Croix. The grasp allows you to hold on to your rod way easier, even with your mitten on or your big gloves. It's not as clumsy because you got that to hold on to. Kind of gives you a little extra support when you're actually fishing. So as you're working that bait, I was a little nervous having the mitten part over it, but the grasp definitely cured that issue. I feel like I got tons of power and I still have the torque to actually battle a fish. Definitely works good. I knew it wasn't hooked very well. Just made the bait change, man. Freaking crazy.
Killing it.
Earlier this year, I told Chase that one of my favorite all-time bulldog colors was motor oil orange tail. He's seen this one. He bought it for me, brought it up. I literally just took the quad dog off. I think this was maybe the second cast on this, but this is one of my all-time favorite colors. I've always caught fish on this late in the fall. I don't know. It's got a bright tail, darker body. Made 2 casts, bang. Got hooked, she slacklined me big time. I didn't even know if I was gonna get really good hook set on her, but I just kept the pressure and came unpinned as it was going in the bag. But we got the job done, so that's all that really matters. A little bit better fish. Fish number 2 of the day, beginning of November, good times, throwing big rubber. Doesn't get much better. She's kind of got like a birthmark or something on her. Look at that. That's kind of wild, isn't it? She's got a stripe right down the center of her head. Weird. Never seen a birthmark on a fish like that. I've seen some different colored ones, but that's pretty wild. Pretty cool. It's a chunky fish. It's not super long, but hey, we've seen some other fish in this spot yesterday, you know, and that's what it's about. We started with the trolling just to get the idea of where the fish were setting up. It's paying off, and yeah, let's take a look at this one. Nice fish. Always good to see. Check out that 2-tone going down the back. Pretty wild. I don't know, she's got a lot of different color there. Pretty cool. Nice to see. Let's get this one back in the water. Go find another. He wants to go. It's super cold. We're dealing with some ice on the rods, but it's been worth it. 2 in the bag, probably about 3 hours now of casting. Checking out the spots that we fished yesterday where we moved some fish. It's paying off. Let's go find another one.
One thing I want to talk about too, a difference from yesterday to today, is yesterday we were doing more of this style, which is typically what I always do. What I've noticed Brad doing, which you guys have noticed too, he's catching more fish than me and raising more fish than me. And what he's doing is like a big long pull like that. He's reeling up quick and he's doing a big long pull. I don't know why it would make a difference, but there's some of those days where it definitely makes a difference. I'm in the back kind of mixing it up. I'm doing a long pull here and there, and then I'm doing my normal retrieve, and I really haven't done squat today. So I think for the last hour of dark here, I'm going to do the long pull like he's been doing. Definitely seems what they're wanting. Like I said, I don't know why fish are like that, but some days they want that long pull, some days they want that short pull. So I'm going to start doing the long pull.
Well, that's a wrap. We 4 fish in 2 days. November fishing, right? You can't complain about 2 fish each day. It was a good time. Chase and I had a blast. It's getting cold. I don't know what it is about it today, but it's way colder than yesterday. Our reels are freezing up. It's time for us to pack it up and head in. But until next week, thanks for watching.